When I tell you, as a shaman, I throw myself into the lion's den, that is not to be taken lightly. Y'all, I be going in those like hotep lives. I know. I don't got no business up in there. But listen. You gotta expose yourself to different spaces, people, and places, especially if you're somebody who's a scholar who likes to study many different things, because you never know what things are being discussed that you need to study, right? And I can never know enough. I don't know all things. I don't know all information. I don't have all points, right, that are existing in this dimension, in this density, right? So in order to expand my knowledge, I have to look within and without, and sometimes it requires throwing myself in the lion's den. But wait till y'all hear what happened. And this is going to be a lesson for everybody. You know, I be putting myself into these risky business situations. I don't even care either. I don't even care. I like to play with fire. Fire. Hey, I'm just built this way. This is how God made me. But check it out. So I go into this Hotep's lab, and they're talking about hierarchies and how like people that they go in other people's rooms and other different belief systems, philosophies, spiritual philosophies or religions. I'm just walking in, so I don't quite understand what's going on yet. So I'm just sitting, just like reading the room, looking at the chat. Somebody writes in the chat that like, hey, the Bible is stolen knowledge and plagiarism, something to that effect. And I'm like, 100, because the Bible has been manipulated, heavily manipulated. And that's just a fact, right? So the host is talking on and on and on. And it made me think about how when it comes to the Bible, it's said that the Ethiopian Bible is the most purest, or the closest to having all the books and not being tainted. That's what's said, right? I didn't say that's what I agree with. I'm talking about what's being discussed, right? So I asked the question to the host because he seemed to be really into studying different philosophies and spiritual philosophies and religions. So I like to have the conversation as a soundboard in spiritual communities to see what other people's point of views and perspectives are. So I said, what do you guys think about the Ethiopian Bible, by the way? This guy, he's still talking, so he doesn't quite see the comments yet. And at the end of his rant about other people thinking that they're better than other people in the spiritual community, which that must really ruffle his feathers because he was going on for a while about that. Then at the end, he said, but that's what people get for being ignorant and making like assumptions before they know enough information. Boom, which was crazy because right before he said that, he looked at something that I said in that thing that I wrote in the chat and said, and good, get up here because you're something follower. He had a heavy accent, so I don't know what he said, but I know a sneak diss when I hear it, because why are you labeling me? Why are you saying I'm a follower of something? That's automatically you're sneak dissing, automatically you're being aggressive, automatically you're disrespecting me, automatic I'm taking offense, right? So I get in the box. What's up? Like, why did you just call me a follower of whatever you just said? Like, you owe me an apology. I'm not a follower of anything, actually. I don't follow no religion, no creed, no nothing. I'm actually a scholar and I am a researcher. So, what are we talking about? Why did you just try to diss me? And before I even said all that, I said, I'm so glad that you mentioned how people make judgments before they have enough information, because that's exactly what you just did to me. I actually asked you the question about the Ethiopian Bible out of curiosity, and we got to stop feeling challenged or threatened or making assumptions when people ask questions that we know exactly why they're asking the question and where they're going with that. And this is what I'm talking about. People's ego blocking healthy conversation. And the whole time he was talking about how there's infighting within the spiritual community whilst being part of the problem. The cognitive dissonance is real, y'all. It's sick. The spiritual psychosis is real. So he proceeds to be like, well, you had said something after so-and-so said something. I was like, why are you attaching me to what that guy is saying and doing? Like, I'm my own separate person. And he goes, well, you said 100 when he said this and this and that about the Bible. I was like, because that's true. That doesn't mean like you made a leaping assumption that this means that I'm a follower of this or that because I agreed on something that's fact-based. How is that logical? I said, so you owe me an apology. He was like, no, da 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 da, this and that. And then another guy that was up there with him proceeded to try to tag team me. Why you gotta tag team little old me? Why you need backup? You're a whole man. What's up? They both was like, no, this guy, he's a really decent man and is respectful and would never this and this and that. Meanwhile, all I've done was express my feelings and my point of view and stuck up for myself. And that got them in such a tizzy. And when I tell you, I was like, boom, I pointed out his logical fallacy, called him out on his hypocrisy, and said, you owe me an apology because I'm none of the things that you said, and you should have never said that because that's disrespectful. And while you're over here trying to like stick up for your homeboy and say like he's such a respectful dude, while he just tried to sneak diss me, you're being passive aggressive. I said, but you know what? It doesn't matter if you apologize or not. And now you guys are talking about, oh, well, you're feeling some type of way. Yeah, I do. And I have every right to. Don't let these narcissists gaslight you. I feel some type of way. I'm offended and I'm letting you know and I'm sticking up for myself. There's nothing ever wrong about that. Now, if when I do that, you decide you don't want to apologize, that's on your head and that's on your karma. I could care less. But what I will do is always stand my motherfucking ground. Don't play with me because good is not for play.